Good morning. How's
Good
everybody
morning.
doing?
I know you're doing well. We're looking at the polls. Back in June, the guy you're running against, Gary Peters, he's the Democrat. He was up 10 points. If you look at the polls in October, according to the New York Times, you're just neck and neck. He's 1 point ahead of you. What happened?
Well, people in the state of Michigan recognize that Gary Peters is all talk. They recognize that he says one thing and does another. They recognize that he talks about being a moderate when really he votes with Chuck Schumer 95% of the time, which is a solid A as a New York senator, and votes with Bernie Sanders 85% of the time, which is a solid B as a socialist. That doesn't represent Michigan. Senator Peters is all talk, and we need to have somebody who has real-world experience from the battlefield to the boardroom to help move us forward to a better future and a better, stronger America.
Well, it's interesting because race in America is definitely a hot issue. You embrace that conversation. You talk about how you became a successful business person, but your military experience for that. So you come pretty well armed to handle people's needs with a lot of experience. And I think it's important for people to understand, too, what lies in the balance when it comes to the Senate. If the Democrats get the Senate, Bernie Sanders will be in charge of the budget. He'll be chairman of the Budget Committee.
I mean, this is just an indication of what's to come. We've seen throughout the course of human history, world history, what happens when you put the power in a centralized government and take it away from the people. Senator Peters would be less than a speed bump against the leftist move toward anarchy and socialism. We've already seen how that story plays out in Detroit when you let the leftists take over. We don't need to go to Venezuela. You can see the opportunity leaving our schools. You can see the opportunity leaving our jobs and economic opportunity. And Senator Peters has stood by and allowed this to happen as a 30-year career politician, 12 years in Washington, 6 years in the Senate, and people until an election year had no clue what his name was, and to this day still can't put their finger on what he has done. People in Michigan want change.
John, let me ask you about what's our lead story over the last couple of days, and that has been Amy Coney Barrett and her confirmation hearings. What do the people of Michigan make of, the Republicans are all saying, look, she's completely qualified, and the Democrats are saying, look, she's got a lot of unanswered questions about how she would rule given these many issues that the Supreme Court takes up on an annual basis?
Judge Amy Coney Barrett is very, very qualified, and Senator Peters came out against the president's nominee before she was even nominated. Look, I truly believe that we need to abide by our Constitution, and you're seeing politicians on both sides being politicians and flip-flopping as is convenient for them. I swore an oath to the Constitution, not to any party or person, and the Constitution says, and is very, very clear on how this nomination process works. We need to abide by that process, and Senator Peters is flopping on position because Chuck Schumer told him to. We need to make sure that we have a leader in Washington who will prioritize people first, not politics. And if you want to learn more, if you want to support, please go to johnjamesforsenate.com. I could use your help.
Well, we're watching these confirmation hearings, and we're watching Democrats raise a lot of money and pouring them into states because they want the Senate. I know your consultant called Chuck Schumer very nervous. He said Chuck Schumer's Senate Majority PAC will spend $5.4 million in 1 week. This is the most money they're spending on any Democrat in the entire nation. They're very nervous about John James, and they should be. How do you fight that kind of money? That's a lot of money in 1 week.
With the truth, Ainsley. You fight it with the truth. We've been spending almost $40 million against me since last year, and we're still within 1 point. That tells you that Americans, Michiganders in particular's lie meter is very sensitive. They can tell when they're being gamed. We recognize that we need somebody who will bring results, not just more partisan politics, and Senator Peters is somebody who will take us in the wrong direction. This seat could be the 51st vote to protect our constitutional republic. And this is more than just flipping a seat. America, I need you to know that this is about flipping the script. This is about showing that who can be successful and that nobody owns me, and that we in the Republican Party can broaden the back of the elephant to include millennials and minorities the way that the Democrat Party is giving lip service. Look at our schools, look at our streets, look at our prospects in life. We must demand change, and the only way we can get change is if we stand up and if we show up at the polls. And I would really appreciate your support. Our constitutional republic is at stake. God bless you.
Right. And John James pointed out that one person you're running against says he's a moderate, but for 85% of the time he votes with Bernie Sanders. John James might be outspent, but he won't be outworked. Appreciate it, John. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. God bless.
Meanwhile, we invited John's opponent on, Senator Gary Peters, to join us. He hasn't been able to fit us into his schedule, but we hope to have him on in the future.